All right, all right, all right. What's happening, folks? Yours truly here, Xavier Smith, aka Coach X, and I am super duper excited. You know why? Because I'm sitting next to Laura, and we're gonna live, laugh, and learn all things power play and so much more with my gal, Laura. So if you're into that beautiful smile and that awesome fiery red hair, and you want to know more, then you're gonna have to do this. Stay tuned. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh my goodness, Laura, thank you so much for joining us. Folks, if you are anything, any iota of an interest in fitness, taking care of yourself, or just living your best life, you're gonna want to tune into this because I've been talking and chatting with my girl, Laura Wilson, and learning a little bit more about her and her upbringing and all kinds of fun stuff. So we're going to continue the conversation that we had before we went live. And I was just learning about Laura being from the Midwest, and we were talking about your athleticism, although you're not an athlete. So let's dive a little bit more into that because we were just talking about how everyone played something. They had to do something to keep busy bodies busy, and that was you were the epitome of a busy body. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Tell us where you're from, and what's your favorite sport?
Well, thank you so much, Coach X. I'm thrilled to be on here. And like you said, if you guys didn't know, we have been talking in each other's messages for quite a while. So I'm pumped to finally get on here. So I am a farm girl from Indiana. So the heart of the Midwest, born and raised. And I'm actually still in the Midwest right now. I live in Indianapolis, but I'm in Louisville currently. Okay. Visiting our daughter, which we can talk about that later. But growing up, I was definitely a busybody. My parents, this whole idea of athleticism, because of course, when people see that you work in the fitness industry, they're like, oh, well, you know what? You were an athlete. Like, what did you do? And I'm always, that question is always like, I mean, I'm athletic and I certainly look athletic, but I never played what most people consider to be a true team sport. I was a gymnast from a very early age. I speculate that I must have been a busybody at home and my parents just needed to keep me moving, because they got me in gymnastics lessons when I was like 3. I think I was about 3.5. It was like the earliest they could send me. They were like, and go. And I competed until all the way through high school. Okay. So up until I was about 18. And then I had, unfortunately, I tore some muscles in my low back. So that sort of ended that, the crazy, you guys know what gymnastics is like, the crazy tricks that we throw and when we're tumbling. Yeah. But I was very active. I'm still very active. Obviously, that's what we love to do. But I also golfed. So again, a team sport, but not really a team sport. So I still love to golf. Absolutely. Just probably don't have quite enough time in my life for that, as I'm going to get there. Luckily, that is the sport you can play forever. So I'm going to get back to that.
Yes. Well, it's so fortunate we are in the space where, talking about power play, where we have one machine that can help us stay in the best, absolute best shape of our life. Right. That was
100%.
We'll get into this because I'm working with a client. His name is Joe, and he had a stroke about maybe a couple of years ago. And so with Power Plate, he chose me to work with me over all these other like physical therapist offices around here, because I had Power Plate. And I just saw him yesterday, and we were using the move to help get his legs ready, because yesterday was leg day for him. So having a stroke, going from, his right side totally locked up to now he's able to use some of that hand and extend it and grip, and it's all kinds of fun stuff going on over there. So
it's just absolutely amazing, and not to take a tangent, but we'll probably take a lot of tangents today.
Yeah, right.
I tell people, this is going to change your life.
Yep.
And so many overstatements are made when you watch TV these days, especially I feel like the news, there's a lot of definitive and inflammatory language that gets thrown around there on social media. I'm like, no, I know there's a lot of that out there. I promise you the power plate will change your life.
Yeah.
You see it. I mean, you're working with Joe. I think you said his name is like, it's probably changed his life after the stroke.
For sure. For sure. Now that reminds me, Laura, we're going to dive into a little bit of your human nature side. Are you much of a news watcher?
No, actually not at all.
Yes.
So like, you're like so excited about that, especially in today's climate, the what we've got going on in the world. I totally believe that we need to be informed. We need to be informed of what's going on in our world. However, we need to be extremely selective because there's a lot of noise. And that noise is typically a lot of negativity. And we have, choices that we can make each day when we wake up to be positive and choose happiness or go down that other path. And I think a lot of the people that perceive that they are unhappy and perceive the world as a very negative place are the ones that are consuming a lot of that type of media, whether it's social media and or news media. Yeah. So, you can feel it. You can feel it physically when you watch a lot. You're like, oh, it feels heavy. I feel anxious. I feel tightness in my chest. And it's just something that my family knows. My husband knows. I'm like, oh, nope, hurry, change the channel. We're not watching that. I need. So, and I'm not a huge TV watcher to begin with. So I would much rather read a book.
Oh boy. What kind of books? Like, are you a novel type or?
All of them, the books, every book, any book. So something you may not know about me is I was an English major in my undergrad. So I love school. I'm a huge nerd. If I was still getting paid, I would still just be studying. I would be at a university and I would be a student probably. So I love to read.
Oh, wow. So
I'm usually reading 3 or 4 different books at once.
You reminded me of my childhood. My mom was I was her first child, right? And so she says she made a lot of mistakes on me.
You were the science experiment.
Exactly. She was the one that when summer came around, I'd have a stack of books that I had to do book reports on. Hated her for that.
I love your mother.
I know, right? But now that I'm a grown ass man, I'm like, thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Because going back to today's society and the current, I'm like, oh boy, we have come a long way, but sometimes I fear we have gone in the wrong direction. Agreed.
So, there are so many resources out there that you can find that can help you. I'm just thinking about 2 or 3 books that I'm reading right now. So
you read them all at the same time?
I do. I have 3. I have my Kindle sitting right back here on the nightstand, and I've got 3 books just on my Kindle that I'm reading currently. So I go back and forth between the 2 and then pick up the third one. The third one's usually like more fluff, like just fiction. I've got two nonfiction, like not necessarily self-improvement, but positivity and like the 7 principles, the 7 decisions. If Andy Andrews, if you've picked up that book, it's just absolutely amazing. So that's one of the ones I'm digging back into right now.
Sweet. So let's talk about your Offspring real quick, since this feels like that's where the topic is going. Tell us about why you are at the location. You mentioned a little bit about visiting your daughter.
Yeah. So our daughter is technically a freshman, but it's like freshman and a half because she graduated early from high school. She had been recruited to play at Bellarmine University, which is here in Louisville. It's a D1 program. So that was like it's been her lifelong dream because she's been playing soccer since she was a tiny tot. And she really wanted to go to a small school. She had also looked at the University of Louisville, which is a huge school. And she went to the Bellarmine campus and she's like, this is the one for me. So she's playing soccer here, and last night was the home opener.
Yeah.
Their first. It is preseason, but they have Thursday night and Sunday night games, and it's just far enough away. And with us not having any kiddos at home anymore, we're like, well, we'll just go to Louisville and stay for the whole weekend and watch the games and work from here. And so, yeah, we're down here seeing her, visiting her, and then watching her 2 first games.
Sweet. So, and you did say that she got some play time. She's pretty much doing her thing on the court.
It's hard as a parent to think you're talking objectively about this, because most parents are going to think their kids are spectacular, as they should.
Yeah.
And of course, we have, been telling her forever, or thinking to ourselves, you have so much potential. You can go play wherever you want. So she did a phenomenal job. Again, she got to start, which is a really big deal as a freshman. She was pumped, and she played probably 3/4 of the game, even though coach had set everybody's mind up that we're just going to get lots of playing time for everyone. So the first thing she said as she came out of the locker room at the end was, I got to play a lot. And she was whispering it. And we're like, yes, that's good. Good job.
Awesome. Beautiful. So let's transition to talk about your older son, right?
Yep.
He's off to college.
Yes,
senior.
Our daughter is just a freshman, and then our son is a senior at Purdue University. And if anyone is familiar with Purdue University, you go there to study kind of 2 things. People think of it, it's math and science. He's there for engineering, one of the best engineering programs in the U.S. So he's studying. He's in his final year, which is also, we're so proud, because most engineer students take 5 years, and he's going to finish in 4. Wow. So he's a senior, mechanical engineering with this is the mom brag here, with a Spanish minor and a business administration minor. So he is studying what he loves. It's evident. He gets really geeked out and says a lot of words that I don't understand, talking about thermodynamics. And he's wanting to engage me in a conversation about stuff that happened in class. And I'm just
yikes.
Just oh, great.
Oh, man. So does he get all that from his father?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I did very well in school, and I love what I studied, but I was definitely the other end of the spectrum when it came to subject matter. My husband is math, science, his mind, they're those people that look at very complex math equations and they're like, yes, 17.2. And I'm like, oh, boy. I'm the person who's I need to see all the work. And they're like, and this is the answer. So it comes, he definitely got that from his dad.
Awesome. You're giving me flashbacks, because I remember some episodes.
School.
Yeah. My single mom was trying to make me learn how to count change. And she was a disciplinarian, because, my father wasn't around. So she had to
do it all.
And I'm like, man, if I don't count fast enough, oh boy, I can just imagine that belt on my backside. So, another episode for another day. So anyway, all right. So now let's talk a little bit about Power Plate, because you said it earlier. Power Plate changes lives. What kind of experiences have you had personally and professionally since jumping on board the Power Plate train?
So personally, just myself, I use the Power Plate. We're traveling right now, so I don't have a Power Plate. And I literally was like, oh, what am I going to do? I need, the whole time sitting in the stands last night watching my daughter's game. Right. I was like, man, I need a Power Plate. When I get back to the hotel, I wish I had a Power Plate, which I could have brought it, but that probably would have sent my husband over the edge. We didn't need to bring that, Laura. But someone who has done competitive gymnastics, you put so much impact on the body, and then went right into doing group fitness for many years, high impact group fitness. Loved it. I've done competitive bodybuilding many years as well. So those are all very taxing on your joints, on your body. And I was finding that I just had chronic pain at what I perceived to be far too young an age in my joints, and was lucky enough that I belonged to a gym that had a Power Plate. And I was like, well, let me check this out. I'm going to research this. And this has been years and years ago, and started using it. And literally got rid of the pain, the kind of chronic aching pain.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, oh, we're stretching on it. You would see people sitting on it, standing on it. And I was like, oh, is that what we're supposed to be doing? So then I was like trying to dive into it more and started saying, oh, you can do whatever you want on it. Like anything you do on it is going to just be enhanced and optimized. So started kind of playing around with it more, and so that was my initial journey. And then I was training clients. So I was like, okay, we got to get them on this. We have to get them stretching, massaging, doing some things, was reading the science and seeing all of the other amazingly insane benefits, the fact that it's a medical device and actually is used to treat so many things. So that was my first experience, was just using it on myself and feeling and knowing the difference that I experienced, to then using it on my clients, and then eventually now working with PowerPlate for almost 7 years now.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy right there. I love that, because that's kind of how I got into it. I got a demo, fell in love with the demo, and I'm like, how do I get one of these in my facility? And it's been life-changing ever since. I've only got the Move right now, but my
don't say only. The Move is when you talk about the size and being able to move it.
Right.
That thing is amazing. It really is, because it has a whole lot of bang for the buck that you spend on that one.
Yeah. So my next, my list of desires is to have the Pro in the facility too. So that way I could do a little bit more of the group training.
Yeah.
And just really enhance the lives of others in my neighborhood, because it just works. I told you earlier about my client that I'm working with now, who had the stroke, and we're putting more strength in his right arm, because his shoulder complex is totally atrophied. Since the incident. But we're slowly being able to at least bend down and put his hands on the steps and lean into it. My goal, for me personally, I use the Move to help me work on my handstands. So when you mentioned gymnastics, I'm like, oh my God, we have something in common. Because I didn't get access to gymnastics as a young lad. So it wasn't until my 40s that I really got interested in, I could possibly do this.
Yeah. So, and it's a really scary thing when you don't go upside down.
Yeah.
Until after the age of 25, when that's your first experience being upside down. That is really frightening, because I try to get all of my clients to do handstands, because what happens to the lymphatic system when we literally go upside down, and the great things for the spine that can happen when you're in that upside down state. So I take them backwards up the wall, walk their feet up the wall, so they get those first experiences, but they get really scared. It's genuinely, I've had people cry. So I'm not trying to make people cry, but they're just frightened. And then when they do it, though, they're so accomplished. And the plate is just taking all of that and making it times gazillions, all the things that you're doing for the lymphatic system and stuff. So
love it. Yeah, I will do sometimes I'll do some 1 minute warm-ups. I'm pretty close to the wall, just in case, because it's that vibration, your muscles have to contract.
You're working so hard. The balance factor. I mean, I would love to know. So this is me asking you a question. I would love to know, doing handstands not on the plate, have you seen that you've improved balance-wise?
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's got to be crazy.
I was doing the warm-up on the plate simply because I knew about the science behind the contraction. So I'm like, okay, let me start this, warming up with this. And I'm working my way up to level 6 for 1 minute. Right now I'm around 3 is my favorite. That's my jam. Yeah.
Which I want to talk about that.
Okay, cool.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah. So let's put a pin on that one. But I did that, and then I went to the ground. And right now, my main focus is total stillness for at least 30 seconds to a minute. That's what I want. and no wall.
Yeah.
And then I'll start working on the planche. I'd love to do the planche push-ups and all that stuff, but I'm 240 pounds. So it's like, oh man, why did I say I wanted to do this?
So I'll say that, we were talking about the whole athletic versus playing sport, team sport, whatever. That's one thing. Like pound for pound as gymnasts, we are very strong pound for pound.
Right. So when I started getting into it, I hired my first online coach a couple years ago, and he was very drill oriented. Mm-hmm. And so my whole body was shocked into, this whole world of being upside down and different types of strength, like compression strength is when I really learned about how to squeeze the muscles in and, working on the L sit.
Give your bones a hug. That's what I always like to say. Give your bones a hug.
So I'm like, oh my God, this is totally different. Because I always got bored when I was in the military. I was in the Air Force, and every time I wanted to go to the gym was crowded. People talk too much, and I just wanted to get in, get out, get on my way. And so that's what got me on my own independent path after I graduated from personal training school. I'm like, I'm going to do this out of my home because I get to, be my own boss, literally. And so it's just been gangbusters ever since. So yeah, I totally can appreciate that. Let's talk about level 3. You said you wanted to talk a little bit about that.
I do want to thank you though for your service. I want to put that in there. That's a really big deal. And I don't want to just gloss over the fact that you said that you were in our Air Force.
Yes.
So thank you, sir.
I appreciate that.
And we've got Labor Day coming up. So, it's a great celebration of the men.
So Power Plate, give me a Pro 7.
As a gift for your service. I'll see what I can do. Put a word in for you. So level 3, it's crazy because people will say, what are all these levels? Why do you have, different vibrations? Everything in life is vibration. It's waves. It's waves. Yes. So we talk about sound. We talk about light. Those are all vibrations. We are subject to vibrations constantly, our human bodies, and people get freaked out by the power plant. I'm like, no. You just did all these things where you were subject. You drove here, right? You were bouncing around in your car with gross, bad vibration waves. Like, let's get you on this lovely harmonic vibration that is in harmony with the body. Our bodies are, organisms. They are made from, things, virus and such, and we are electromagnetic, grounded, and we've got all vibration happening in our body. So what the plate does is it's harnessing that, and it's harmonic with that.
Yeah. And
so we talk about vibration as your intensity dial, meaning, are you going to go pick up a 5-pound weight, or are you going to pick up a 55-pound weight? Are you starting on level 1, or are you headed all the way up to level 6?
Yeah.
But when you start looking at the research, so that's your intensity dial. And obviously, when we're looking to make changes and force the body to adapt and get out of, it's homeostasis, we're going to, guess what? We're going to challenge you, and you have to adapt. That's one process that we use with Power Plate, by using that vibration, and exactly what you already said you're doing. You're working your way up to challenge the body more in your handstands, but you found that 3 feels good. So when you look at the actual, how many times per second the plate is moving is what these levels are on the move. Yeah. So level 3 is 40 times per second on low, which means it's moving approximately 2 millimeters. And the main measurement is of the plate moving like up and down, which that's not as relevant as the fact that it's 40 times a second, 2 millimeters. That 35 to 40 times per second is where we find that most humans are vibrating. Okay. So it differs. So we always go ahead.
Would you say that's resonance, like a resonant frequency?
Yeah, if that would be a good way to refer to it as well, like a resonant frequency. So you'll find, particularly when we talk about training multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, conditions that have spasticity, and we're working to try and a lot of times just address other conditions, are not the multiple sclerosis itself, but we're talking about the other things that we need to address. Just like with the stroke, we're not addressing the stroke, we're addressing the results of, or the symptoms of, or the conditions thereafter. That's what power play is so genius about. But those rehabbing stroke patients, MS, Parkinson's, they are probably the most sensitive to what feels really good on their bodies. And it's always between 35 and 40. So then the extrapolation from that is that's our body's resonance, which we can't, no study in the almost 50 years of research has been able to pinpoint that, because every single human is different. Right. You know, like we haven't really, that we know of, like cloned a bunch of humans, which I don't even want to like go there, but you know, because our biology and our makeup and our DNA, and there's just a gazillion factors that's kind of the extrapolation of what happens. So I love hearing that you're like, oh, level 3 is what feels good. You feel that intuitively, you know, that our body speaks to us, and you as a coach are probably far more kinesthetically aware than most human beings walking around in this world, because it's what we do, is we're working with human bodies. So being able to tap back into that, getting people in their bare feet on the power plate, because that proprioception, the bottom of our foot is like 75 to 80% proprioception sensors. Those are our balance sensors. And because we keep walking around in really thick shoes and we're never barefoot and we don't let our feet touch the ground anymore. And as we age, they're more and more calloused. So we're basically numb on the bottom of our feet, and we don't know what things should feel good anymore. So that's another thing that you see, especially as we age, because of course you and I are so young. We're going to get there eventually, but that idea that getting people in their bare feet back on top of the power plate and letting them feel that and become like proprioceptively aware, they're going to be able to tune into how their body feels and become more kinesthetically aware simply by standing on top of a power plate. So eventually they get to that point where like they're like, oh yeah, 40 feels good, or, you know, 35 feels good. So it's just, I love, you're like, you knew instantly.
That's it, man. It's between, well, I lied. I love 3, but I also am vacillating between 5 and 6 sometimes, depending on my mood. But every time that I come from walks, or, you know, if I'm getting ready to do some training myself, I will warm up and I will stay on 3, probably like 2 or 3 minutes. Because my routine is when I come out to the place, I will go through all 6 frequencies, 1 minute each, and just stand there and just be like, zone out. But I will usually stay on 3. Sometimes I'll stay on 5. And depending on what my objective is for training that day, it's either 3 or maybe 6. But like I said, depending on what I want to do for that day. But man, it just feels good. And if we can get more people into that state of mind, where it's not so much about doing all this hardcore hits and CrossFit and stuff, unless that's what you want to do. But if you just want to get a state of mind where you just feel good and you're ready for the day, you got to have power plate in your life. Point blank. Period.
It's basically a biohack. You know, that's kind of the thing that more people are learning about, is that I can give you the equivalent of 90 minutes in a gym. You come train with me for a half hour. On power plate.
That's what I do. Like my sessions, when I was doing more one-on-one with people, I would only do 30 minutes. And they were like, they would balk at it, right? Until they were done, until I got done with them. They were like, OMG, so much respect for you now. So I'm like,
I mean, the science shows us that the neurological activations, as well as the muscle activations you're doing in 30 minutes on a power plate, are about the same as if you did a 90-minute gym session. So it's the physiological results then in your body are the same, but you've had far less impact on your joints. So
if you want to live longer, you that's another reason to have power plate in your life, you know? I got to pause for a moment real quick, Laura, because I got stats, and I can see when people chime on, and somebody dropped a heart emoji, and I'm thinking it was because of you. I don't
Do
get
you not
any
get
love.
heart emojis?
I don't get any love when I do my solo cast. So I'm like, that's all you. So, as a matter of fact, it's the wife of Joe.
Oh,
So the guy
yay.
that I'm working with, yay!
Yeah.
So much love to you. I'll have to be sure to thank her when I see her again.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, let's talk a little bit more. So we talked about your. Did you play basketball at all?
I did. But it makes me laugh to think about it. So I grew up in Indiana. Hoosiers
Right.
all play basketball. So I played
Nice.
in elementary school and in junior high. But at a certain point, gymnastics was really all consuming
Yeah.
because I was not only competing, we had an actual high school team, which was pretty rare. I didn't realize how rare that was, but it's because of the amount of insurance and the equipment. Like, it's so expensive that most high schools don't have gymnastics teams. And then I was also competing at a club level gymnastics. So between the two, my schedule was pretty full up. And let's be real honest, I don't know that I would have been like making the high school basketball team. I was a great supportive bench warmer most of the time. So, and I'm okay with that.
And that's fine. And you know what? Before I forget, Laura, because I saw your stuff on TikTok, and we got to talk about your dance moves. You could have been a professional dancer too.
So, once upon a time in Laura Land, when I was getting ready to go to college, all through high school, I thought I was going to be Janet Jackson. That was my life dream. And I knew every dance, every piece of choreography. I've seen her in concert 10 times. Nice. I liked her a lot. So when I was initially headed off to school and I actually started, I was a vocal performance major and a dance and theater minor. So that was my first semester at college before I was like, wait, we have to sing Italian opera? I thought I was just going to be a pop star. Like, what is this? This is not my jam. So boy. I shifted and changed my major to English and did education, but I kept my theater and performing minors. So I know it might be shocking that I have that background, but I was in like every show choir, every theatrical performance growing up, local theater as well as high school. And I love to dance, and I've taught dance for many, many years, both on like the cardio aerobic side, as well as I've taught little people's like contemporary and hip hop. So hip hop is really like, that's my jam, my favorite place to be. Yeah. And I still teach hip hop classes at the gym. So
sweet. So you got you came out of the womb just busy.
Yes, I was busy and I like to stay busy. And it's enough of a thing that my family jokes about it, because I'm like, okay, I'm really busy. So I'm probably going to try and say no to some projects that come up. And my husband's like, well, we'll see. That's going to last about 2 weeks.
Well, you know that I have to pause again and just thank you for like allowing this to happen, because I know that could have been very easily something you say no to. So I appreciate the time that you
absolutely
gave to me for just being here and chatting with me. And I'm surprised that you don't have like some of the smaller power plate tools, like do you have the Pulse right now?
I do. It's actually across the room, because I never leave home without that thing. Like literally down to, I am the person that's on the plane and it's in my carry-on, and I use it like on the plane when I'm flying, or in the car when we're driving somewhere, because I make him drive if there's 2 people in the car. And in fact, my daughter over in her dorm room has the Pulse, the larger gun. She has the roller and the dual sphere all in her dorm room, because she was like, Mom, what am I going to do when I go to college? I was like, okay, don't worry. We'll get you a whole set. Because she has been so lucky to just have those at her disposal, have a power plate in her house and at the gym and at her school. And so, and her trainer, her strength and conditioning coach has the HP, the
No
big
way.
bad boy. Yeah, I helped him get that. So if you're looking I'm gonna try and get you the hookup. He had to pay, but a very discounted rate. So if anybody is wanting that, I can help you get friends and family discount.
Oh my God, Laura, we got to team up, because one of my goals is to like help other providers get this into their practice.
Yeah.
Because now this is just how my little brain thinks, but you're looking at client retention.
Oh my God.
You're looking at customer satisfaction, and you're looking at people to just want to come to your facility just because you have the plate.
Yeah. It's a differentiator.
Yeah. So I'm like, why? Because I had an appointment, right? I had on a Monday, I had an appointment to see it's a local physical therapy office, and they knew I was coming. They knew it was going to bring my plate. And then Tuesday they canceled, but it inspired me so much that I wrote a blog post about why physical therapy needs power plate, because that's the truth. It's just an absolute must-have if you're treating patients, no matter what their walk of life is. Once they experience this thing, it's going to be night and day difference.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about human movement. That's what they're dealing with is improving human movement, whether it's through an injury that happened or imbalance or scar tissue or something, rehabbing someone after surgery. So there's so many things that power plate does, improving circulation without having to do a high impact action to do so. So for example, I had I had an emergency surgery back in December of 2020. And I was so thrilled because I not to have the surgery. I was thrilled because my surgeon knew what a power plate was. And because I was like, look, I don't want to have this surgery. I'm just telling you that because I don't want to be out of commission. And I was going to be, because they were cutting through my abdomen. So I knew I was going to be out of commission for a while. Yeah. And I said, so just so you know, I know the science, I know the medical reasons why I'm going to be on this machine. And I started to explain to her, and she's like, a power plate? I was like, yes. Yeah. So 48 hours, she said, get on it 48 hours after surgery. Because it will stimulate circulation and start that healing process. So when you talk about people who are trying to heal from something, whether it is an old injury, chronic pain, arthritis, those types of things, that amount of circulation you can generate with basically zero impact. So, one of the big things is after surgery, you can't move, you can't exercise per se, but I could still generate the same circulation that exercise would. So my healing process I smashed it, my body's like, yes. But that's because of power plate. And the reason she knew was because she breeds thoroughbred horses, and they use them on their horses at the racetrack.
What?
Mm-hmm. So if you didn't know that, if you're a race fan, if you watch the Derby or any of the big races, they take those horses both before and after those races, and when they're rehabbing injuries, they have the big plates, those HPs, the ones that we designed initially for NFL, and they sink them into a level surface so that they're level, so the horses should just walk right up on them.
Oh my God! Yeah, this is craziness. Oh man! So Laura, let's start a support group or some sort of association where we talk more, because I'd love to, like, how my brain is thinking now is like, if I can have more conversations like this and then use that to put that in front of these people who, like, because sometimes all they think about are the numbers, like the cost. It's not a cost, it's an investment, but you're going to get that back.
Yeah. And I'll be happy to talk cost and ROIs with them as well, because I've worked so many years in this industry as not just, a trainer, but business minded. I've owned my own gym, like you have, running your own services, but working for some really large global brands, not just power plate, but in an operations side where I was looking at profit and loss, where, even with power plate, we sit there and because it is a large expenditure, sitting down and breaking down the numbers and saying, this is what your return on investment is going to be. I can have you there in 1 month, so it's one of those things where, to us, having seen how it changes people's lives, it's priceless. And that investment, like, forget the number, like, you need this in your life, but it certainly is something that we can easily point to.
Nice. Well, you make it my day. I'm like, so, well, I gotta go because I have an actual client that I'm going to be serving here soon at the top of the hour. But this is perfect timing because, like I said, if I can convince anybody of anything, what you should spend your money on, I would prioritize PowerPlate over anything else. Because think about it this way: you got one machine that does three things. It helps you prepare, it helps you perform, and it's also going to help you recover. Like, there's other modalities out there that don't do that.
Yeah. You gotta warm up, work out, and cool down in one place.
Yeah.
And not just that, I'm gonna expand on that. Just take it one other step.
Yes,
so one piece of equipment that I can do cardio on, I can do strength on, I can do stretching, mobility, stability on.
Mm-hmm.
I can also train, there's research all the way down to the 18-month olds with, looking at the science there, that I can put them on a PowerPlate safely, up to my great grandmother who needs to improve her bone density. Like, what other piece of equipment can do all that?
Yeah, that's correct. Oh yeah. Talk a little bit more about that, because it's FDA approved medical device. Like, this is a big,
this is no joke. We are literally the only piece of equipment in the world to have FDA, the Mayo Clinic.
The Mayo Clinic?
Because people are like, oh, medical device. The Mayo Clinic has research around our device, and it is a medical device with probably, I think now we're up to 10 or 12 CPT codes. So you can actually bill insurance. It's not that isn't something I say lightly. If you have HSA, a lot of times you can bill your insurance, for the plate. It might buy the plate for you if you have XYZ condition, if you've been diagnosed. So we're the only piece of equipment in the world. And in fact, we are the only piece of equipment that I am aware of that has no contraindications. Now, every other piece of equipment out there has contraindications.
That's mind-boggling, Laura.
It is. It is. If you can exercise, if you can do cardiorespiratory weight-bearing exercise, if you can walk around and go up your steps and do those things, you can use a PowerPlate.
Fantastic. So Laura, let me ask you this, totally off topic. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Okay, did you ask me? Did I tell you that I love ice cream?
Nope.
Okay, because ice cream is my weakness. If I could, I would eat ice cream every single night in bed and then lay down and go to sleep. Like, really bad. Okay, favorite flavor. Wow. That is tough, but it has to be something chocolate.
Okay.
And probably, like, if I was going to concoct one, it'd be chocolate with peanut butter cookie dough in it.
Oh boy. Yeah, you're going big. I like it.
There is no messing around with ice cream. And people are like, ooh, have you tried that Halo or Keto? Yeah, I'm like, I'm eating ice cream. So I'm going to eat ice cream. I'm not messing around and messing it up by trying to eat healthy. Like, just go for the ice cream. I want it to be milk, buttermilk, sugar, cream. I want it to have the real ingredients in it, not a bunch of chemicals to try and make it healthy.
Yeah. Don't even get me. Don't get me started on that.
Hey everyone, welcome forward. We are a new kind of doctor's office that's doing primary care.
What the heck is going on here?
Our best in class doctors.
That's not me.
No, it's not.
Healthier life.
I'm trying to turn stuff off and it's like talking to me. Because I was looking for some footage. I have a YouTube channel, very small YouTube channel. And when I go to PowerPlate to like pull some material out, just for social media purposes, I think there's a video of you using the move, and people see how jacked you are. That video alone, Laura, is one of my top view videos ever.
Oh, yay.
Right?
You can get muscles if you want on Power Plate. You don't have to. Some people don't love that look. As a farm girl, I started working out at a very young age. I didn't even know that's what it was, but I was helping out on the farm. So I have very mature muscle by this time.
There you go. Well, we love it. I can definitely appreciate that. So thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, thank you. I was so excited that we were finally.
Yes. I figured, once we, hooked up and finally got everything finalized, it would be totally fun. But I want more, and I'm thinking that the people that I'd like to get in front of, they definitely need this kind of educational, non-formal type of energy. And if you are interested at all, folks, in if you like the video, because we're broadcasting on Twitter. I got a Facebook group that's got about 400 people or so, and I'm actually broadcasting on my personal page on Facebook right now. And somebody just dropped a comment. Great conversation. Thank you. That's my gal Anna. That's Joe's spouse.
Oh, nice.
So, thank you so much for tuning in, champ. And thank you, Laura, again.
Yeah.
I'd love to set up some more times we can do this and maybe bring some friends on board to talk about the efficacy of just 10 minutes a day. If you just stood on the plate 10 minutes a day, you tell them, Laura, tell them what they would be benefiting from if you just stood on the plate.
So even just 10 minutes a day, the Mayo Clinic found that doing that 3 times a week, you actually decrease body fat. And in the study, they did 3 months, and the average person decreased body fat 3.4%.
Oh boy, there it is.
Now,
that's your seller.
I'm not saying it's a magic pill, but there's not a lot of equipment or exercise protocols that you could point to that has something like the Mayo Clinic backing that. But you're improving circulation, you're helping to get that lymphatic flush, because that happens in just like 3 to 4 minutes. So if you're getting 10 minutes in there, you're doing the same amount of about 35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes in the gym. When we talk about the neurological, your central nervous system actually activating your body, your muscles activating. But what's so great is that it's, again, that lack of impact, but still having the same results that you get if you would go bang yourself up in the gym. Right. So it's crazy.
I got some friends that I want to introduce you to. She's out of Colorado. She represents another modality, red light.
Oh yeah, red light therapy.
Mm-hmm. Red light therapy, but it's where I'm using it right now as we speak on my knee. But I was just thinking, this plus Power Plate is like, I feel like I'm making myself bulletproof.
Sir, you are just getting younger right before our eyes.
Right. Love it.
Or the last thing we're going to add is just either some ice baths or some cryotherapy.
Oh, yes.
You're going to be like a brand new bionic Coach X is going to.
I saw Floyd Mayweather doing that, before some of his bouts, and great respect for his skill. And I'm like, anything that you could do to keep yourself young and active, I'm all for it. And, he obviously has built a name for himself. So when I saw him doing that, that piqued my interest, because we
can make that another conversation, because we have a lot of med spas who do that very thing. Cryotherapy.
Yeah.
Red light, Power Plate. It's the trifecta of reverse aging.
Okay. Yeah. We have to talk more. This has been the time well spent. And again, I cannot thank you enough, Laura. And thank your husband for allowing this to happen. I know he's in the background.
Well, he finally left. He actually has a meeting here with a company that he represents in Kentucky, so in Louisville. So I saw him walking by, and he was like waving in the hotel window.
Nice. There you go. All right. Well, then, thank him too. Tell your family members to just thank them. I'd love to meet all of them one day. If you guys ever do anything in Arizona, just let me know, because you got a friend here.
Are you in Phoenix?
Close to it.
Okay.
Close enough. How about that?
Close enough. Okay.
Yes. All right. So, Laura, thank you again. And like I said, we will be back If you are interested in anything that we just talked about, just let me know. And I'm going to remind you, as my client pulls up, all we do here at Excellent Solutions is point people to solutions, whether I own them or not, because we just want people to feel good, not bad. And Laura, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We're going to sign off as soon as I can find it. There we go. So stay right there, Laura. I'm going to sign off and say goodbye to my people. And